shall curse you. I'm after you.
Here are the facts. Ever since it was made known that the Supreme Court was planning on destroying Roe v. Wade, that would destroy abortion rights in this country, well, maybe I should start at the beginning. I'm pro-choice. Of course, you all know my beliefs when it comes to abortion. The fact of the matter is this. I believe the women should have the choice. However, I do give women options beyond just going to an abortion clinic. Republicans and so-called pro-life pastors, people who call themselves pro-life, don't give any other options, such as adoption, such as surrogacy. But what I want to know why, the real problem that grieves me and angers me is that every time I vote against someone like Donald Trump or any other Republican, despite the fact I'm wearing a red shirt right now because I'm an Ohio State football fan, despite all that, I get called a baby killer because I don't believe that the government, now this is coming from a person who is a Democrat, I don't believe the government has the right to make the choices about a woman's body, about what a woman does with her body, regardless of the circumstances. Now these people, the Republicans are trying to say this, mainly the same Republicans that say that government should stay out of everything. But when it comes to something like this, they want to use biblical principles, or they want to use God as an excuse for what they're doing, for calling people like me baby killers, for harassing abortion workers, for killing abortion doctors and their staff. Let's not forget about that. It's becoming almost, not too long ago, a friend of mine on Facebook asked, why is it that everyone is trying to make The Handmaid's Tale, the television show on Amazon Prime, real? I responded to her, because people want control, not freedom. Now again, I'm pro-choice to a certain point. But it's hard for me to argue, and it's hard for me to argue against any pro-life person or someone who claims to be pro-life, although they haven't said anything about school shootings or massive heart attacks from unhealthy lifestyles, anything like that could actually save lives. They don't say anything about that. It's always that number one issue, abortion. And every time I argue with a pro-life person who says he's pro-life, it angers me, but it's even worse when it comes to pro-life women. It's like they're trying to just give up whatever autonomy they have over their own lives because they think that the government is right, or at least sections of the government is right, their pastor is right, and they are wrong, that their lives don't mean anything. What I'm about to read to you is an article from John Pavlovitz. And quite honestly, it's pretty scathing considering what he's saying and what he talks about. He talks about how he, as a pro-choice man, is grieved every time he argues with a pro-life woman. Take a listen at this article. There's a strange moment in nearly all of my interactions with professed pro-life women, one that never fails to disorient me and grieve me. Whether they're tossing venomous diatribes on my Twitter mentions, tagging me with explicit-related Facebook attacks, or standing in front of me with self-righteous condescension, I even eventually have a realization. One of us believes that she should have full autonomy of her own body, and it's not her. Whether our exchanges in that moment are chilling, combustible, and regardless of how incinerated those words toward me might be, it never fails to fill me with sadness. They are fighting with me, and I am fighting for them. That never feels right. Looking at us from a distance, it might at least make some sense why a white man raised in the church who has pastored for 2 decades will be telling a woman that she is not worthy to be the author of her own story, that strangers get to determine what happens to her body, that her most intimate decisions are the jurisdictions of supposed men of God, that misogyny is baked into conservative theology and politics. But the irony of my interactions with women who advocate for the removal or limiting of rights of women is that I'm trying to advocate for their inherent self-worth while they seem less passionate about it. I am not pro-abortion. Like nearly all pro-choice human beings, I never rejoice or celebrate these decisions because I know that there are ones reached after arduous deliberation and great pain. They're often born out of emotional trauma, physical assault, or dire medical news. I know that abortions are not chosen impulsively or without careful prayer wrestling. I believe in education and in birth control and in doing everything possible not to create an unwanted pregnancy. All pro-choice people I know believe these things. But at the end of all that, I defer to the woman because I simply don't believe what happens within the confines of her own body is any of my business. And I can't comprehend why any woman could touch such a belief. How in my invalidation of her autonomy, I am viewed as her enemy. I am fully unwavering for her. The sanctity of her sentient life is non-negotiable for me. The sad irony at play when I realize that a pro-life woman arguing with a pro-choice man like me is essentially relinquishing control of her own destiny to other men. And I'm saying she deserves better than that. I wish we were allies in this and not adversaries because my respect for her is complete. I respect her, it seems, more than her pastors, more than her politicians, more than any man who may have raised her or attended church with her or lived alongside her. I'm a pro-life man in that I'm pro the lives of women and believe that they ultimately should not be compelled by the law or by the church or by other men to make a decision about their own bodies and intimate lives they do not want to make. It would give me great joy if more professed pro-life women simply agreed with me. First of all, John, thank you for that article. But second of all, your desire to agree with pro-lifers is a fantasy. I'm sorry to say this, but it's just a complete fantasy. I've argued with pro-choice people before, and it's not going to work. Now, I wish to God we could come together and just talk out the differences between us. And the one question I would ask them is, why are you not giving them other options other than abortion? They say, you see a pregnant woman, automatically you say that person should be, that woman should give birth. What if she doesn't want to be a mother? The question before us is, why aren't you giving these people any other kind of options? Put the baby up for adoption, surrogacy, sanctuary laws, leave the baby in front of a fire station or police station, sanctuary laws. The number one thing, once you hear a woman say, I don't want to be a mother, you automatically think she's getting an abortion. And the thing is, you act as if we're pushing people to get abortions. We're not. At no time have I ever advocated a woman should say, get an abortion. I never did that before in my life, and I never will. But I've been called everything but I've been lied about because obviously I'm pro-choice to a point, And because I don't vote for Donald Trump and I don't vote Republican, so obviously I'm a baby killer. That's what their mentality is. And that is what creates this divide. You don't want to talk about the subject unless you have to be absolutely correct 100% of the time. And that's wrong. And that's the wrong way to look at this. But here's the bigger issue I think everyone is just completely forgetting about. Now, abortion is a hot button issue and it's something we need to talk about as Americans. However, at the same token, we need to talk about what exactly is going on in the Supreme Court. Because let's not forget the fact that this draft was leaked. The decision to try to overturn Roe v. Wade was leaked. And not too long ago, before this video, after this video, I should say, the Senate, every single Republican said no, with addition to Joe Manchin saying no, abortion is over. What happens when interracial marriage comes on the chopping block? And it will. What happens when gay marriage and gay civil rights come on the chopping block? And they will. What happens when the Voting Rights Act of the 1960s and the Civil Rights Act of the 1960s come on the chopping block? And they will. The Supreme Court has opened up a whole lot of nightmarish possibilities in this country. And if we don't do something about it, this country won't exist anymore the way you and I know about it. Black people, African Americans, the LGBTQ, any citizens of color other than white men will have rights in this country. And the rest of us who are different because of our race, because of our sexual orientation, or our gender, and women, I'm talking about you because this directly affects you, especially when it comes to abortion rights, to equal rights, equal pay, everything else. This country will go back to the days of Jim Crow, to the days before the LGBTQ rights, the days before equal rights for women, respect for women. It's unfortunate and it sounds like hyperbole and it sounds like I'm getting hyperbole about all this. But in the end of the day, that is what we're facing right now in this midterm election and the election of 2024. Now, you may not agree with abortion, and that's fine. You may not support abortion, that's fine. You may be a pro-lifer, that's fine. However, it's not only about that one subject. It's about a myriad of subjects that could affect your rights, and most importantly, your life. Do not take this lightly, because if we do, this country will fall. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.